Vizzo, stay the fuck out the kitchen.
Spend 1,000 on some jeans and get it back. Nigga, fuck this rollie, spend a 60 on this cash. Can you add me up? I spent the 90, be exact. 200 off on play, you niggas broken.
This is Devin Loritz, a 23-year-old aspiring rapper from Marietta, Georgia, who went by the stage name Vonnie B. Within just 72 hours of becoming an internet sensation, he would be found lifeless at a Tennessee hospital, multiple wounds piercing his body after a confrontation that turned deadly at a gas station in broad daylight. Before we uncover the shocking details of his final moments, let me take you back to where this all began.
My friend.
What up, family? Rapper Vonnie B. Damn. Now I just found this man with a viral photo getting up out of jail, right?
The story of Vonnie B epitomizes the double-edged sword of viral fame in the modern digital age. Born in 2001 in Marietta, Georgia, Devin Loritz grew up surrounded by the streets that would later inspire his raw, unfiltered approach to hip-hop. Unlike mainstream rappers with multi-million-dollar record deals, Devin operated completely independently, carving out his own space in the competitive Atlanta underground rap scene without any major label backing. His journey into music wasn't glamorous or instantly successful. He relied heavily on social media and YouTube for distribution, using his Instagram as his primary promotional tool, where he would share snippets of upcoming tracks, behind-the-scenes footage, and constant calls for bookings through his email address. The hustle was relentless and necessary for an independent artist trying to break through in an oversaturated market. His early collaborations included tracks with local artists like J.Boo, Lil Fago, and Young Avo, showcasing his raw talent in group settings before venturing into solo work. In 2018, he released Racks on Me featuring J.Boo, focusing intensely on themes of wealth and street life with an official music video capturing Atlanta's underground aesthetic. That same year, he dropped Misfits, featuring Lil Fago and Young Avo. But it was his solo work that truly began to showcase his potential as an artist who could stand alone. He released tracks like Paranoid, V's Flow, and Try Me. Then came his final known release, ominously titled Closed Coffin, where he participated in what was known as the Clappers Challenge in 2024. The tragic irony of this title would not be lost on anyone who followed what happened next. While these tracks garnered modest views, typically hovering in the low thousands rather than millions, they indicated that Devin was genuinely on the cusp of potentially broader recognition, but remained firmly underground, still grinding, still hustling, still believing that his big break was just around the corner. His background, however, included legal troubles that would ultimately become the catalyst for everything that followed. Around May 10th through 12th, 2024, Devin was arrested in Cobb County, Georgia on charges related to the purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, or sale of marijuana. But here's where things took an unprecedented turn nobody could have anticipated. The mugshot taken during his booking process wasn't just another forgettable arrest photo. This photograph featured Devin with his distinctive twisted locks, a serious yet composed gaze, in casual attire that made him look more like a misunderstood artist than a criminal suspect. The photograph resonated online for what countless users described as his undeniably handsome appeal, and it spread like wildfire.
All these ran through. I got to a point in my life. All these ran through. I done ran through so many hoes, you feel me?
On X, formerly Twitter, Posts began circulating at lightning speed, with users like @iCryGlitter__ noting the heartbreaking quick turnaround from virality to tragedy within mere days. Comment sections flooded with offers from women to bail him out, praising his looks and speculating about his potential innocence. TikTok amplified it further, with pages dedicated to viral mugshot Vonnie B accumulating millions of collective views. This massive surge in attention led directly to a significant spike in his music streams across all platforms. People who had never heard a single bar from Vonnie B were suddenly searching for his tracks on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and every other streaming service imaginable. But here's what makes this story even more devastating and impossibly tragic. This overwhelming wave of attention, this moment that could have been Devon's big breakthrough into mainstream recognition, this viral fame that thousands of aspiring artists would literally kill for, it lasted mere days. Just mere days before an absolutely fatal event would unfold that would transform him from an internet sensation into another heartbreaking statistic. Another young life cut impossibly short, another name added to the ever-growing list of rappers whose potential would never be fully realized. On May 15, 2024, at approximately 2:30 in the afternoon, a confrontation unfolded at the 7-Eleven Exxon gas station on Joe B. Jackson Parkway in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, that would end with Devon taking his final breaths, his brother fighting for survival, and multiple families forever shattered by violence that erupted over a vehicle dispute. Let me break down exactly how this tragedy unfolded, because the details matter in understanding how quickly a situation can spiral out of control. Devon and his brother Eric Mitchell had tracked down a red Chrysler 300, a vehicle that Devon had previously purchased from a man named Juan Charco, to this gas station. But here's the critical context. The vehicle had been repossessed in Georgia after being abandoned, creating what both parties believed were legitimate but conflicting claims to ownership. The Charco brothers, Juan, who was approximately 26 or 27 years old and hailed from Antioch, along with his brother Alberto, had been in the process of towing this disputed vehicle when their Ford F-150 truck began experiencing mechanical problems, specifically overheating issues that forced them to pull into this gas station to address the situation. It was during this unplanned stop, this moment of mechanical vulnerability, that Devon and Eric arrived on the scene to confront them about the vehicle. What began as a heated verbal argument about rightful ownership quickly deteriorated into physical violence. Cell phone footage captured by witnesses at the scene shows two men throwing punches at another individual inside a vehicle, the confrontation intensifying with each passing second as tempers flared beyond any possibility of peaceful resolution. Then came the sound that would change everything forever. Gunshots, with multiple rounds fired in rapid succession. A witness at the scene, Dadrian Collier, later described hearing over 6 distinct shots ring out in what must have felt like an eternity, despite lasting only seconds, followed by the horrifying sight of someone lying motionless on the ground. The violence was sudden, explosive, and absolutely devastating in its consequences.
Shot and beaten at a Murfreesboro gas station has died from this afternoon. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tracy Cornett.
And I'm Marius Payton. This happened on Joe B. Jackson Parkway. Our Sharon Danko joins us here live after speaking with the witness. And Sharon, you spoke with someone working at a fast food restaurant who watched this all happen.
Yeah, Marius, Tracy, a man working at a Burger King right next to that 7-Eleven says he heard what sounded like more than 6 gunshots and watched everything unfold in awe.
Bruh's down, he got shot.
Damn,
Bruh's down, he got shot.
You're watching the moment Dadrian Collier says chills shot down his spine.
Oh, we gotta call 911.
You're looking at 2 men repeatedly punch another man inside of a car at this gas station parking lot.
Bro, they beating the out of bruh.
Adrian recorded it all from the other side of this drive-through window. And to make matters worse, he says the beating started off with a string of gunshots.
Sounded like somebody was at your door just with a pistol, but it was just louder than that.
At around 2:30 Wednesday afternoon, Murfreesboro police say two men pulled into this 7-Eleven gas station in a black pickup truck.
From there, two men pulled up in a Mercedes, a silver Mercedes. A confrontation ensued, and then there were gunshots.
And the shooters were the two men inside that black truck. Police say the men shot the two men inside that Mercedes and then started beating them up.
Brung the other dude out the car, started beating on him.
Police say one man shot multiple times, laid there on the ground, while the other man, who was shot once or twice, got beaten up, pulled out of his car, and lunged at before he ran into the gas station to call for help.
Devin sustained multiple gunshot wounds throughout his body, injuries so severe that despite being rushed to a local hospital, he ultimately succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased. His brother, Eric, was also struck, taking a bullet to his arm that required him to be airlifted to a trauma center, though thankfully he was eventually stabilized and survived the ordeal, left to process not only his own physical trauma, but the emotional devastation of losing his brother in such a violent manner. Police and emergency medical services arrived at the scene with remarkable promptness, immediately providing critical medical aid to the victims while simultaneously securing the area as an active crime scene. The investigation that followed would reveal crucial details about what transpired in those chaotic moments. Alberto Churco provided a statement to authorities claiming that when Devin and Eric arrived, one of them was wearing a ski mask and carrying an AR-style rifle, while the other was armed with a pistol, creating what the Churco family has maintained was a legitimate fear for their lives that justified the use of deadly force. This self-defense narrative has become central to how the Churco family has framed the incident. They maintain that Devin and Eric arrived aggressively, heavily armed, and presented an immediate threat that justified deadly force. Alberto has emphasized that surveillance footage would support their version, showing that the initial aggression came from the other party. However, when investigators recovered over 20 shell casings from the scene, it raised serious questions about the proportionality of the response. Body camera footage and witness accounts suggest that the shooting escalated after punches were exchanged, and critically, that shots continued as the victims attempted to drive away, trying to escape rather than continue the confrontation. The investigation confirmed that surveillance cameras at the gas station did indeed capture substantial portions of the event, though the specifics of what that footage shows have not been made fully public as the case continues through the legal system. The official motive, according to law enforcement investigations, remains firmly centered on the dispute over the vehicle itself: who had rightful ownership, who had the legal authority to possess it, who owed whom money, and all the complicated grievances that can arise when financial transactions involving vehicles go wrong and communication breaks down between parties.
3 days before this situation happened, he dropped a record called Closed Coffin, right? I mean, the coffin is closed, it's over with.
The incident sparked absolutely widespread social media coverage within hours of the news breaking. Posts flooded Instagram, TikTok, and X, with users lamenting the devastating loss and often linking the tragedy directly back to his viral mugshot moment, creating a narrative arc that felt almost scripted in its cruel irony. From jail to viral fame to death in less than a week.
Now, people are saying it's because, of the viral photo that came about. You know what I'm saying? With him in the jail. Because he was finna get paid, get a lot of money. It said it was jealousy and all these different things. We don't know that. We know the individual that did the shooting, he's incarcerated on $1 million bond.
In the aftermath of Devin Lawrence's death, the wheels of justice began turning through the Rutherford County legal system. Juan Charco was arrested on May 15, 2024, and initially charged with second-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder for allegedly firing shots that killed Devin and wounded Eric Mitchell. However, as prosecutors reviewed evidence, examined witness statements, and analyzed surveillance and body camera footage, they determined the charges warranted escalation. By February 2025, the charges against Juan Charco were upgraded significantly to first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated assault, tampering with evidence, theft of property valued between $2,500 and $10,000, reckless endangerment, and employing a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony. This upgrade to first-degree murder is particularly significant because it indicates that prosecutors believe they can prove premeditation or that the killing occurred during the commission of another felony, both of which carry substantially more severe potential penalties than second-degree murder charges. Juan Charco has remained in custody at the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center continuously since his arrest, held on a bond set at $1,500,000, a substantial amount that reflects both the severity of the charges and potentially concerns about flight risk or danger to the community. Meanwhile, his brother Alberto Charco, who is present during the incident and whose statements to police have been crucial in establishing the defense narrative, was interviewed extensively by investigators and ultimately released without any charges being filed against him at that time, though officials have noted that the possibility of future indictments remains pending as the investigation continues. But here's where the story of justice becomes frustratingly complicated and drawn out. An arraignment was held on February 19, 2025, where the upgraded charges were formally confirmed, and a plea hearing was initially scheduled for March 11, 2025. However, that hearing was continued to May 14, 2025, under Judge Barry Tidwell. Then came another continuance. The May hearing was rescheduled to September 5, 2025, at 9 o'clock in the morning. Public records and reporting from WGNS Radio confirm this as the most recent scheduled date. However, as of November 2025, there have been no reported outcomes, no guilty plea, no not guilty plea, no trial setting announced. This pattern of delays and continuances, while frustrating for those seeking swift justice, is not uncommon in cases involving self-defense claims and complex evidence, including surveillance footage, ballistics reports, witness testimonies, and forensic analysis. Charco's attorney, G. Jeff Cherry, has not made any public comments about the case status, maintaining professional silence that is typical in ongoing legal proceedings where attorneys must be careful not to prejudice potential jurors or undermine their client's defense strategy. While the legal proceedings continue their slow march through the court system, Devin Loritz's memory has been preserved and honored primarily through online memorials and tributes. The National Gun Violence Memorial features a dedicated page for Devin, listing him among the thousands of victims of firearm-related incidents in Tennessee and across the United States. User-submitted tributes on the memorial page highlight his youth, his aspirations, and his identity as an aspiring rapper known to fans and friends as Vonnie B, emphasizing the potential that was cut tragically short. The question that haunts everyone who followed this story is simple but impossible to answer. What if? What if the truck hadn't overheated at that specific gas station? What if cooler heads had prevailed and the argument had been resolved with words instead of violence? What if Devin had never purchased that red Chrysler 300? Would he still be here, still grinding in the studio, still chasing his dreams of making it big in the rap game? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel to see more content like this.